The following podcast is intended for mature audiences. If you enjoy our work, please like, comment, subscribe, and follow the links in the description. Thanks for your support, and enjoy. Greetings and salutations, listener. It is I, Eric J. Chucci, joined as always by my fellow... We don't really go to cons, so I don't really have anything here. Game enthusiast, the boy?
Hey, I'd have gone with lazy nerd who doesn't go to cons.
Mm-hmm. It's not about laziness, actually. Welcome to the Third Podcast. I don't think I'd like them.
I think I might, but not much.
I like the idea of going there to support independent artists and buy their merchandise and stuff, but there's an awful lot of extra shit going on. The rest of it is like my least favorite parts of a theme park.
And combined with as I understand it, an almost inescapable fog of nerd stank.
Yeah.
And look, despite being a dyed-in-the-wool nerdlinger, I'm not very social, even less social than most nerds, so I've only experienced that aura a couple times in my life, and I cannot fathom voluntarily exposing myself further to it.
You know, I think there's two ends of that spectrum, and I'm afraid that let's call it the two sides of the Chihuahua.
Okay, I'm interested in where this is going.
I mean, 9 times out of 10, in a social situation that I don't engage in, I am side one of the Chihuahua. You often hear the expression deer in headlights. I find that to be false. Most of the time when a deer is caught in headlights, it looks at you like, yes, motherfucker.
Did you need something?
I am a wild creature, and you built this stupid path where I live. Can I help you? Chihuahuas, I think, are a bit more indicative of the general response that's trying to evoke, which is, oh god, I'll kill it?
No, deer headlights is supposed to evoke stunned.
Yeah, stunned, like
nonplussed. Just,
but that's not what deer do. That's what...
No, they look at... It is a very long-suffering look. It is... Here's these assholes.
But a Chihuahua, on the other hand, will freak the fuck out and not go anywhere. Just sit there and sort of become this flailing entity of limbs that's not sure if it's for fight or run, so it just stays.
Caught betwixt the two urges of flee and murder.
Writhing, legs and arms everywhere, probably peeing.
Almost certainly peeing.
That's, to an exaggerated extent, what typically happens if I'm not in outdoor mode, not in hail fellow well met, as you often put it, mode. Work mode, if you will. If I'm just not intending to have a conversation and somebody starts having one, that side of the Chihuahua happens to me, okay?
Okay.
But then there's the other side of the Chihuahua, which I see from a lot of nerds, a lot of geeks, a lot of what have you, even you, Ultimo Dragon. Quite literally, actually. I was watching footage of Ultimo Dragon showing up at a con, and he was just like, why is no one happy? Get happy. Come on, guys. Ultimo Dragon's here. I was mad at those people, because fuck, why aren't you happy or Ultimo Dragon's here? I would be.
He would be so confused if he met me, because I'd be like, Ultimo, it's you!
No, he'd be like, yeah, it is!
And then I would say something like, so how'd you like last episode? And he would be baffled.
I think he'd roll with it, though.
Yeah, it was great. Super!
Doesn't speak much English from what I gather, though, so he'd just kind of nod and smile. Yeah, the other side of that is the overexcited, I'm out in public and socializing with people who aren't going to judge me.
Too much.
They've got
as
a special
much
niche.
As is normal.
Yeah. So there's that, oh my god, hi everybody, let's do the cool things, oh my god, you look so great, let's do all the things! That's the other side of the Chihuahua. And I'm kind of afraid that in that sort of, hyper-stimulating environment that I would turn from freeze up, flail limbs, pee everywhere Chihuahua into the one I don't know how to handle as well, which is move, flail limbs, pee everywhere, Chihuahua. And I don't think I'd like myself after a day of that. Social encounter-wise.
For me, I'd love to experience the stuff that's at cons.
I don't even think I'd like the panels, because it seems like they're always like, hey, come to our panel at like 4 in the morning. You got to get there real early. Try to get there around 2. Only 4 people are going to be allowed in the auditorium. And then there's those motherfuckers. Every time I watch a fucking panel, all right, everyone's Q&A time. Hello. Let me just say, first of all, when I was 4, my mom didn't treat me very well, and now that I'm 37, I've started listening to your your pod people. I like you guys a lot. Anyway, my question is, in a fight between Optimus Prime and Guido Sanchez, who do you think would be the first person to apply? Thank you. And, I hate that motherfucker so fucking much, and he's like all of the people. That or the dude who thinks he's a fucking comedian.
Just, man, you can't see his face. He's genuinely mad.
I was, full disclosure, listening to a podcast earlier today, and I know myself so thoroughly by this point that they were like, all right, everyone, it's time for Q&A. It was a live podcast from PAX, on topic enough. And I was like, nope, we're done here. I fucking can't. I can't listen to live Game Grumps or live Spoonie or whatever, because there's those fucking people in the audience who are like, no, I got jokes. No.
That's the other half of the Chihuahua.
That's the other half of the Chihuahua, yeah. I don't want to turn into that. I'm kind of afraid I would, because I do have jokes.
You think they're very funny.
Oh, no, that would be bad. I mean, I know I make bad dad jokes at you, but that's 89% intentional to bother you, or at least continue the bit that we've perpetrated to the point that it might as well be reality.
All right. So we were going to talk about cons, but that might be a fun conversation. Okay, so there are times in the Two Nerds household where neither of us really sure what our real personalities are anymore, because there are a series of multi-year long bits that go on for several years at a time, where we've each perpetuated a bit personality for this part of our life, where we'll interact and do the joke and continue on with our day, and it gets to the point that it becomes iffy if that's really how we feel or not.
Yeah, even to ourselves. Mm-hmm. Do I believe that, or is this? Does he know I'm doing a bit? Am I doing a bit?
I've been doing this bit for 6 years. Does it still qualify as a bit? Or is this just my outlook now?
You forget. It's weird.
We're two people who interact mostly in acerbic humor, jokes, and self-deprecation, so the waters get a little deep sometimes.
Well, I mean, you and I, when we converse, even when it gets really fucking super serial,
there's a joke every 3 sentences.
We talk to each other like fucking Conan and Andy, like a talk show host and a really good guest, the old podcast people. So this is part of why we started the podcast, because we've been practicing this shit subconsciously, accidentally, for years. It's just, we do banter. It's what we do. It's I don't know. Some guys try to one-up each other by talking about how cool they are. We try to make better jokes. Literally, because, one of us...
First one to laugh loses.
Yeah, we'll try not to break. We will attempt to sell awful jokes with, body movements and good timing. And, God, the feeling you get when you get home, nothing but a poorly aimed pun. And
intentionally awful, not even really a good play on words, but you sell it so much that the other guy laughs. That's victory. I don't know of anything that feels sweeter.
To this day, Pun Sandwich will go down in history as my shiningest moment of pure comedy. And this chuckle fuck was the only one in the room to hear it. He's reliving it now. My story's not that funny.
Fuck.
I don't even remember what led up to it. I just remember in the end, I took a bite of the peanut butter and jelly that I happened to have around and said "Bun sandwich." And it slayed him. It slayed him today.
Fuck. Oh, God. I can't, listener. I can't express how funny that was. It was... Because it wasn't funny.
No, God, it wasn't. It was
It was
barely
just-
observational humor.
It was just... The timing was so divinely perfect.
Oh, my, yeah.
And the delivery was so good that, as you can see now, when he fucking mentions it, my brain replaced the whole bit. And I die. Any fucking way.
What we intended to talk to you about was PAX East, I believe, was this weekend.
Yeah, PAX East.
That's how we got talking about conventions and fucking shit like that.
Jesus.
There was not a lot of like AAA shit there. I mean, there was like some stuff, but it was either, hey, this game you know about that's been going on forever, that's still coming out, or hey guys, we're gonna release a game. Here's a title for it. It wasn't a lot of huge shit. I think the biggest stuff was with Rock Band talking about releasing an expansion this fall.
They found an old Tomb Raider video from like a promo for Tomb Raider 3 that had been lost for a decade or whatever.
I mean, it wasn't like anything crazy, but the indie scene was pretty fucking cool. And there were a couple of highlights, a couple of standouts that I kind of cherry picked. Boy, did you end up finding anything that you were personally interested in?
Like, I looked through it, and aside from the stuff you already grabbed, not really.
I'll start out with the smallest one. Killer Instinct's dropping a new character. I don't have my notes on hand, so I don't remember her name off the top of my head.
Yeah,
Mari, something like that?
Yeah, we did the fighting game turn. We mentioned that we turned around on Killer Instinct.
Yes, we did. We just, I don't know what, I have no excuse. We played the tutorial and then we got it, I guess, basically. We weren't matching the buttons right. Because we play, like, and I don't want to say more strategic fighters, because there's a strategy in that, but, like...
There are fighters that we play medium well. Killer Instinct is not one of them.
No, it's just button mashing and flailing. I'd like to learn it more, honestly.
From what I understand, it's a very deep fighter.
Yeah, I've just been embroiled in other shit lately.
Yeah, we do other shit.
But yeah, she's like a cool vampire, and like she's got like water bending powers. I wasn't quite sure what was going on with that. There was like weird watery shit coming out of her claws when she made slashes in the air. But she looks cool as fuck.
That I have to agree with. She does look cool as fuck.
We're not a news podcast, so I hate to.
Her name is Mira.
Mira.
Yeah.
Google that. Check out her announce video. She's coming out soon.
The other thing you mentioned that I want to bring up, because it was one of the things that grabbed my attention most, was the 80s pixel art beat cop thing.
Yeah!
Where you get to be like a straight upstanding cop, or you can be super corrupt.
Like, I'm sure you know why that called my attention.
Yes, I do. It's fucking great.
It's Small Town Cop.
It's small. Someone made it.
Well, not really, but I think I've talked about this on the podcast before. I don't fucking know when, but I don't know. Pick a random episode. Maybe it was in there. Probably one of the ones no one listened to. But I had this idea.
2 views, one's me, one's you.
Yeah, I had this idea for a game that I wanted to call Small Town Cop. And to be absolutely upfront, Beat looks like a really cool game. It's like a combination between, I can't remember the fucking name of it. I feel bad because I'm friends with the developer's sister. But there was a game where you just sort of played a person in the big city living their life. It kind of reminds me of a combination of that. You just had to go do daily tasks. It was very routine.
That wasn't
a story piece.
Always Sometimes Monsters, or anything.
No. This was a different game. I didn't play it for too long. It was very hard. I still have it somewhere, and I'm so sorry, Mandy. But it was a cool game, very interesting pixel art style, really great theming, and mood and stuff. But it kind of feels like that because there's like, you got to do your things, you got to do this and that. There's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek 80s-ness to it, And a lot of it is beat cop simulation. Like, where you can choose to be a corrupt beat cop, you can choose to go, legit, you can choose to do this and that. I don't want to say it's super broad, because it actually seems kind of narrow in what you can do. I don't think I'd honestly pick it up, because I'd probably play it for about an hour and then be like, well, no. But I thought it was really interesting that somebody else basically came up with a similar concept. Small Town Cop was to be set in a small town, like a more rural suburb. And, like, I wanted it to be more like 3D, like Grand Theft Auto. I love pixel art, I honestly do, but I just don't think it suits this game. And you could go around and decide whether or not to hassle people, and there was a strong storyline, a lot of open world stuff, not too sandboxy to where you're just like, oh, I'm gonna ram my cop car off all kinds of shit. But more like...
But the option to ramp your cop car off all kinds of shit should be there.
I think so, but, like, I'd also like there to be repercussions for that. Like, there are games for that. I don't think I should be designing...
Another Grand Theft Auto?
I don't think I should be designing a game that you're just going to use like Saints Row 3. I'd like, you ramped your cop car off some shit, and there's some serious repercussions. They're really mad at you down at the department.
That car was expensive. They're going to be docking your pay.
They're docking your pay. You're relegated to this. Anyway, I had some really, big ideas for it, and I think it's really cool that somebody else had a very similar idea. Let's look into the low-profile, mundane life of a fucking beat cop. The biggest thing I wish they would have done better in that game is the dialogue. It's so fucking weird. It's obtuse. Like, way too straightforward in places where it fucking shouldn't be. Way too, like, clunky in places where you need it not to be.
Well, it's not out yet, is it?
No, and maybe they'll do some polishing passes on it. But, like, I watched, I want to say maybe half an hour of gameplay on it. And, like, you were supposed to go around and ask people if they'd seen any drug mules. And, like, the cop basically goes to all the people he's supposed to ask. And he's like, hey, seen any drug mules? That's
fucking straightforward.
Bad police work is what that is. But I don't know. It seems like an interesting game. I think if you liked Papers, Please, you'd probably dig this game. They're not the same, but they have a very similar aesthetic. Not aesthetic, I guess. Soul, I think, is probably a better way to put it. Where you're doing a mundane task and you're not sure if what you're doing is right, but you gotta. What insights did you have into it? You said you gravitated toward it.
Pretty much the exact same thing you just said. I was like, I was just very amused that someone came up with a similar concept. It sounds pretty interesting. It also kind of sounds like a lot of management games, especially ones from like the late 90s, had that sort of, there was like criminal lord management games and stuff. I kind of would like the opportunity to be like a hard-working but only a little dirty cop. Like, takes kickbacks from the nicer criminals who don't sell drugs to kids, but like bust the shittier ones. I would probably just play it straight and narrow. I'm still trying to get the Diamond Dick Trophy and Honey Cam without getting my girls on cocaine or taking them to the sleazy motel. So, not because I'm real lawful good, just because I don't know, I respect people. And I respect the law! Yeah, was there anything else? Oh, cool. I wanted to look up something about, because I didn't even know this until you sent me the link. I didn't even know this was a thing. The Friday the 13th game?
I've been hearing little bits and pieces about that, and like, and at PAX was it coming back and going, hey fucker, I'm still here.
Apparently it's for release this October, and I had to look into it to figure out if you were playing Jason or if you were playing the kids.
Yeah.
Turns out both.
Yeah.
That's really fucking cool.
I think this game is a really great concept. I think it's going to be fun for a couple times. I don't think it's going to be that great.
No, it'll probably be shit. But
I don't know about shit. Just like endearingly bad.
But like, I can't wait to experience. Like, I want to experience that endearing badness.
Yeah.
I wanna be able to load in as Jason and like spend 20 minutes wandering around not finding anybody because I'd be terrible at being Jason.
The biggest complaint I have about it, and again, this is like it's out in October. It's not gold yet. It looks a little too bright and cheery. And
You'd like it to be a little bit.
I'd like it to be a little darker, a little shadowier. I think you can pull that off without making it hard for the individual players to see.
It's a color palette thing.
It's just a little too bright right now. Wash that shit out a little bit. I know it's kind of weird to hear in current year, but, let's dial it back. Desaturate it.
A little too Firewatch for you?
Yeah, and I love Firewatch, but the colors shouldn't be that bright in a Jason game, except for the blood.
Then again, if you go watch those movies, they're not terribly washed out. They're very...
No, they're not, but like everything's in a blue cast, and there's lots of heavy shadows. So, like, do that. Put stuff in a blue cast and give us lots of heavy shadows. It just... Like, it feels like I'm playing... It feels like this game isn't real. It feels like it's not an actual licensed game.
Yeah, I could see that from what I saw.
One of the things I really liked about the Evil Dead game on the PlayStation, certainly we're not its human tank control, but I beat that fucking game. Believe it or not.
I do, but only because I know you.
But one of the things I really liked about the game was because it captured the visual aesthetic of the Evil Dead franchise on a PlayStation 1. That and the Ash taunt button were two things that kept me going through that game, and genuinely being interested in the story. But
yeah, no, it's not. It looks really fun. I like it because it's like Evolve. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's a good
monster versus people, but
yeah.
It's better than Evolve because I like the dynamic here a little better because in Evolve it was a team of seekers and one hider.
Yeah.
Now it's one seeker and a team of hiders. That's better. There's a reason hide and seek works that way.
And as I was reading it, it's like by the end of it, all of the camp counselors are probably going to be found. Everyone's probably going to end up dead. But I imagine they'll give out trophies or whatever based on who lasted the longest, who stayed in one spot for the longest without being found, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's clearly being made with a lot of love. The only thing that I'm disappointed about is it seems like back before they got the license, this was originally supposed to be part of a franchise, a sort of spoofish franchise.
But then they got the official license and it went a little serious.
Well, not that it went serious, just that it was supposed to be like maybe the next one was Michael Myers, maybe the one after that was Freddy Krueger. It would be a shame if that's not going to happen because what a great idea for a franchise. I've been howling for ages and pretty satisfied by Mortal Kombat because of it, that we need a real licensed horror movie fighting game. That would be the coolest fucking shit. And this is a cool idea too. To play that bad guy or to play the people trying to escape.
Yeah, I really like the option to play both because one, in those movies you're rooting for Jason. You know you are.
Now, that's the essence of it. Yeah, very rarely is the protagonist actually who you're cheering for in that specific era and genre of film.
So it's fun to play Jason and be that guy. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill all these assholes. What they do, don't care.
They're Crystal Lake and they shouldn't be. That's how this works.
But the other side is in all these horror movies, everyone, bitches like, well, they're making stupid decisions. All right, motherfucker, money where your mouth is.
Yeah, make better decisions.
Now you're a camp counselor, you're stuck in Camp Crystal Lake, and Jason's coming for you. What do you do, asshole? Where do you go?
And I think it would be really cool if they got to go through the different killers, because they each have their own different power set,
I think Freddy might be a weird game.
Freddy might be a weird game, but, it might be kind of cool, too, because, you can maybe fuck with people. Or maybe they've got, a sleep meter, and you have to bring that sleep meter down before you can fuck with them.
And, they have to, get coffee and keep themselves awake, and they can't hold still for too long.
And, they need to actively check their sleep meter or something like that, so you can sap it when they're not looking, and they don't realize they're asleep, and shit starts going weird.
And, the idea would be Freddy was, he's in the sleep realm, so once they go to sleep, there's no UI change for them. they just go into the sleep realm, and the next time they check their sleep meter, it looks fine.
You're like, oh, it was low, but now it's better, so he must not be fucking with me. He must be fucking with someone else. No, it went all the way down.
It's too late now! Now you're in Freddy's house!
That
and
would be
like
funny
you're
as shit.
stuck there for a while until you can get out. And you're stuck there for a while, and he has until the timer runs out and you wake up to get you, to like track you down, chase you down, and fuck you up.
And I think the Michael Myers one would be better because obviously you'd have one character who was super important. You know, that was the actual goal to kill.
Yeah, like it was a team captain's thing,
right? And the other people would probably there'd be at least a couple characters who had weapons. And so the thing about Michael Myers is you can knock him down, you can knock him out, you can kill him, shoot him, whatever.
But
and then there's like a timer and he respawns.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. You know, there's so many different ways. And there's other horror villains you can fucking do. Leatherface. Fuck, you can do team versus team in that one. It can be the entire fucking family versus, you know, a bunch of fucking Southern road trippers. It's just, there's so many
fucking cool.
There's so many great ideas in the fucking horror genre. Translating that shit to a video game. I've seen so many fucking pixel games. There was one 3D one that was really cool. Like, we always do survival horror and stuff, but nobody takes these iconic slashers and makes really good games out of them. Like, every now and then you get this stupid fucking shit fest, but like, a really good game.
Scream would be amazing.
Oh my god,
because like one, maybe two of the spoilers for Scream, there's 2 killers. One, maybe 2 of the killers would be members of the other team.
Oh, shut up. Okay, so there's no definite who's on what team.
Yes, exactly.
Right? And everybody has a button that either does bleh or puts on your fucking Scream costume, depending on if you're the killers or not. So, like, there's the entire concept of the first game, of the rest of the series, which is hide from the killers, and then there's this second added, like, 10 little Indian shit going on.
Like, who is it? Like, and there's this 10, and because in the game there'd have to be some incentive to get people separate.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just like 9 people sitting in a room until someone just puts on the ghost face and tries for it.
Well, like maybe you can fuck with the power. Maybe they start, you know, inside the house or some shit like that.
Everyone starts in different places. You guys are trying to find each other, and it's about you can kill people, but the ghost face would have to get away and be able to take their shit off without anyone seeing them, because if they get seen, they're caught.
Or maybe there's like younger people that you got to check on.
Yeah, there's like NPCs,
like,
and for the players, there's NPCs in like various different places around this big house, because usually the final set piece is a big house.
Sure, I say either a big house or a small street.
Yeah, and
because
like,
that gives you more incentive to spread out.
Yeah, and there's NPCs wandering around, and Ghostfaces have to kill them too, but like, the job of the actual players is to keep those guys alive, and those fuckers wander around and spread out. And
yeah. Oh man, too much fun. And this is at the top of our fucking heads. Hey, I got a Patreon. If y'all motherfuckers want to donate me some money, I will find someone to build us this game. I know several game designers of the independent variety. We will get this shit started.
Oh, there's so many good ideas there.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's fucking billions which is probably what led these guys to do this whole Jason game in the first place. Like I said, it seemed like this is what they were going to do. You know, obviously they didn't have the license, so they couldn't say it was Jason, but you know, it was Camp Murderer Guy, and the next one would be Chainsaw Murderer Guy, or what the fuck ever.
And then you know, fucking Knife Murderer Guy, Ghost Spirit Visage Guy.
He gets health back a lot. It's bad.
Just call it Stab.
Yeah. So what else was next that grabbed your eye there?
That was the only other thing you sent me was about a CyberPUNK shooter.
Oh, you didn't get the one about what was it called? Metronomicon?
Oh yeah, no, the one about the rhythm game RPG.
Yeah, that was kind of neat.
That'll either be neat or super duper shitty.
I think it's niche. I think it's a great take on the rhythm genre. I think it's a great way to, like, because I've played
I think it's Parappa the Rappa is what I think it
Well,
is.
it's like Amplitude, and I've played Amplitude, or whatever Rock Band calls it these days. And it's fun, but like after a while, I'm like, why am I doing this? What is the point for me switching tracks and stuff? I don't quite understand. I mean, it's nice, it's pretty, it's fun. It's like how to play Rock Band by yourself, but why am I doing this?
Whereas this gives you a reason.
Yeah, it gives you incentive and fun little characters, and it's funny, and the graphics are cool. Was that the right name? Metronomicon?
Yeah, Metronomicon.
Okay. Oh yeah, like a metronome. Okay.
And Necronomicon.
Right. It's pretty neat. It's the
Peanut butter and
concept.
steak.
It's the concept in and of itself is the kind of shit I absolutely love, which is just like taking two genres that aren't supposed to be smushed together and, as you said, peanut butter and steak, just saying fuck it and going for it.
Which, by the way, not bad. Peanut butter is
I
good
love
on
peanut
beef.
butter on my hamburgers. Yeah, it's good shit. Stuff balances out really well, especially if you can get like a non-fruit jelly. Like if you can get like a hot pepper jelly, good shit. And then as you said, shit, I was thinking about it earlier and I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
The CyberPUNK shooter?
Yeah.
I honestly, like, I'll have to look it up here.
Devolver Digital is becoming one of my favorite indie publishers.
Something about this didn't catch my eye. Ah, that's why. CyberPUNK shooter Ruiner is what it's called.
Ruiner, yes.
I
I appreciate it because I am a ruiner.
A stylish blend of Akira and Hotline Miami. I love the idea of Hotline Miami. That is not a game I'd have fun with. I have never played Hotline Miami because I know that I would break my keyboard in two.
Well, and I think based on what I saw in the video, in the trailer, it's less like Hotline Miami and more like a top-down shooter. I mean, not like a shoot 'em up, not like bullet hell, but like it has that visual viewpoint. But otherwise, it's like fucking like Hunter the Reckoning or Diablo or.
Well, is it top down or is it isometric? There's a difference.
I think it might be isometric.
Isometric's more interesting to me.
But I don't think it's that like that roguelike aspect that Hotline Miami ironically has. I don't like roguelikes, and I like Hotline Miami. Is why it's ironic. It's not, oh, you got hit, you're dead. It seems to me like you survive a little more. And honestly, I don't know what they're talking about with Akira, unless they just don't know any other cyberpunk stuff.
Well, it might specifically remind them of that cyberpunk.
I guess. I mean, I looked at the trailer and I was getting more fucking classic Cyberpunk 2020 or even fucking...
Look, alright, most people, even nerds who talk about cyberpunk, they say cyberpunk, they think of Akira and Blade Runner. And
I would even say Blade Runner more. I would say more, fuck is that role-playing game that I don't like? Man, my brain is just...
Shadowrun?
Shadowrun. Or Shadowrun.
Shadowrun is great in theory. I like Shadowrun in theory. The less Shadowrun there is in Shadowrun, the happier I am.
It's,
I like cyberpunk as a genre, not Shadowrun as a game.
I like cyberpunk as a genre, so rarely is it done well. And ironically...
Like steampunk.
I think a lot of people have... No, let me try this again. I think I have a very different opinion of what good steampunk is from most of the steampunk-enjoying populace.
That's fair, so do
I. I don't get really super into the Victorian side of it, whereas I see most steampunk people are like, yeah, fucking Victorian! And I'm like, I'm here for the steam and the punk. You can keep your pretty dresses. I will wear a pretty dress, or a top hat with goggles on goggles on goggles, but, that's not the point. It's just part of the sauce.
It'd be like someone really into cyberpunk for, the retro-futurist 80s aesthetic they have sort of over top of the cyberpunk.
Yeah, just for that.
Yeah.
And, dude, I do love that.
Wearing a perfectly legitimate, very 80s business suit, and then also, a big, chunky, cybernetic-looking watch and some wraparound sunglasses and going, I'm a cyberpunk. That's usually what I get out of steampunk people.
Which, I mean, that seems to be the vast majority of them. I'm there more for the Final Fantasy VI stuff, the steampunkier side of it, the Full Metal Alchemist stuff.
And for cyberpunk, I'm there for the very cyber end of that train.
There is an old role-playing game that is about as well known as this podcast called Slay Industries that gets down the aesthetic of what I love about cyberpunk perfectly. Unfortunately,
I don't know that I would call Slay cyberpunk.
It so is. Unfortunately, I don't like the game itself.
It's too, how to put this?
It's heavy on the punk.
Yeah, it's too punk. There's not enough blending there for me.
Well, and, the thing is, not... The biggest departure is there's no fucking deckers.
That's a really important,
Well, alright, but in a role-playing game, it's like we've heard countless times from countless different people, but I think the most accessible is Spoonie. You either do all Jedi or no Jedi. You either have, the fucking Decker who does his own little fucking show, and it's all special effects, thing that they can only do just themselves, and the rest of the party is left with their thumbs up their asses.
That just kind of sounds like bad DMing.
I wouldn't necessarily disagree, but
that's just a bad DM.
It's not so much with the Jedi, but more with the Deckers. There's they're they as characters are very individual and also important. So it's kind of like deciding in tabletop role-playing chess which one of the people in the party gets to be the queen.
I've never actually played a cyberpunk role-playing game, so I can't really comment.
I haven't played many of them for long. They tend to fall apart pretty quick. But as I was saying in the first place, I err a little harder on the punk side, not so much on the cyber side. I don't have anything against the Deckers. It's just not my cup of tea. I like the Warhammer 40k, but more cyberpunk than upsetting.
Than just straight up gothic.
Upsetting punk.
It's mostly just straight up gothic in terms of the setting.
Yeah, I think it goes fucking beyond that.
Gothic industrial, yeah.
There's heavy goth and there's fucking 40k where everyone but orcs are sad and angry and betrayal.
I would call 40k gothic industrial in terms of a setting.
I mean, sure, but well, anyway, we're mincing shit about
We're discussing incredibly fucking douchey, incredibly split hairsy nerd bullshit.
Which is probably why you come here, to be perfectly honest.
And it's super appropriate to talking about cons, I suppose.
Yeah, it seems like there was another game.
Not that on this list you sent me.
Okay, well, so that's PAX.
Well, I mean, there might be more. PAX isn't over yet, I think.
Oh yeah, it's over.
Oh, that is true, yeah.
Tuesday. It ended Sunday.
I lose fucking track of days. But yeah, that'll be it. There might be more of it next week, but probably not, because next week there's a Rasselroo to watch.
I don't know that I'm gonna watch this one. I don't know that I much care.
In any case,
well, we don't usually do the preview of next week. But I will say, despite the fact that I like what I hear for the most part from the wrestling, the matches just do not pique my interest, and that's usually what gets me into a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Well, man, let's hope Billy's around.
Oh boy. So everything's better when nerds talk about it.
See if you say that next week.
Fuck it, let's get hardcore!